Srimad Bhagavatam, translated with commentaries by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Canto 1, Chapter 8. Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. Text 1. Sutta Goswami said, Thereafter, the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Lord Krishna. The ladies walked in front. Purport. To date, it is the custom in the Hindu society to go to the Ganges or to any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. Each of the family members pours out a pot full of the Ganges water for the departed soul and walks in a procession with the ladies in the front. The Pandavas also followed the rules more than 5,000 years ago. Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, is also amongst the family members. Text 2. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 3. There, the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhisthira, along with his younger brothers, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, Draupadi, and also Lord Krishna, all sat, overwhelmed with grief. Purport. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought between family members, and thus all affected persons were also family members, like Maharaj Yudhisthira and brothers, Kunti, Draupadi, Subhadra, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and her daughters-in-law, etc. All the principal dead bodies were in some way or other related with each other, and therefore the family grief was combined. Lord Krishna was also one of them as a cousin of the Pandavas and nephew of Kunti, as well as brother of Subhadra, etc. The Lord was therefore equally sympathetic toward all of them, and therefore he began to pacify them befittingly. Text 4. Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected, citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings. Purport. The stringent laws of nature, under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be altered by any living entity. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma, or religion. No one can create any religious formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only, or his orders, and that will make all happy, both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in the material world, it is our duty to follow the orders of the Lord, and if, by the grace of the Lord, we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also, we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. In our material stage, we can neither see ourselves nor the Lord for want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from the material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, we can see both ourselves as well as the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up the material conception of life. Therefore, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory material energy, we accept this spot life for a few years only as our permanent existence, and thus become illusioned by possessing so-called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc., which are false representations created by Maya, illusion. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect these false possessions. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all this material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment. And this clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association of the Lord's devotees, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depth of the bewildered heart, and thus make him practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. This is a summary of the pacifying measures for those afflicted by the reaction of stringent material laws, exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age, and disease, insoluble factors of material existence. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death, and the Lord pacified them on the basis of knowledge. Text 5. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life being decreased for their having roughly handled the hair of Queen Draupadi. Purport. In the glorious days, or before the advent of the age of Kali, the brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. 1. The protection of the brahmins maintains the institution of varna and ashram, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. 2. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is, milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. 3. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society by which we can get good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. 4. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadan Samskar, the beginning of pure life. 5. The protection of the old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for a better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity, as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of these innocent creatures is totally forbidden, because even by insulting them, one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste, for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called varna samskar. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushashan, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord, mentioned above. Text 6. Lord Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashvamedha yagnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Purport. This is something like the preface of the performances of Ashvamedha Yagna by Maharaj Yudhisthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhisthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhisthira in opulence. Yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhisthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhisthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only he was on the level of the King of Heaven, even though King Yudhisthira performed only 3 yagnas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the All-Great. The sun's rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are dark always. This is not due to the sun, but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are 100% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Text 7. Lord Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Purport. Apparently, Lord Sri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the brahmanas. But the brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be the personality of Godhead, and therefore they worshipped him. But the Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order that a Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the brahmanas. Although Lord Sri Krishna was always offered the respects of the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usages between the 4 orders of society. The Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future.